When I was struggling to find my first software job, I felt like I was battling fires on all sides. I was battling with my own laziness and procrastination that I had always had. I was battling time pressure, a time pressure to get a job as quickly as possible. Studying under stress can be debilitating, and it could be hard to get started and to stay consistent and motivated. And today I wanted to share some tips about what I wish I would have known while I was struggling to get a job. Start with the easiest task. So a lot of people take the reverse advice on this, starting with the hardest task first. In fact, it's so common that it has a name, eating the frog. But I don't agree with that. For me, doing the hardest thing always made me procrastinate harder, just thinking about how difficult it would be to do the task. And especially if you're in a state where you're discouraged like I was, starting with the easiest task made it easier for two reasons. The first is that it made it easier just to get started with my work. And the second was that it just helped me build momentum in my tasks and made it easier for me to complete other things afterwards. For work, I generally started with small bug fixes if I could. And for a lot of software jobs these days, a lot of the processes have been shifted so that new engineers are able to complete a task on their very first day so that they can feel more successful. Never rely on motivation alone. If you wait until you're motivated to do something, you will never do anything. I know, because that was me. That was my experience. When I first moved home after college and started studying for jobs, I would just wait until I felt like studying. And a lot of days, that would just mean not doing anything all day. And at the end of the day, I would just hate myself for procrastinating and being lazy. So generally, it was always easier on making studying a habit. Waking up at the same time every day, studying at the same place every day, studying for the same amount of time every day, etc. And for me, it was going to some random Starbucks in my hometown city every single day after I woke up until I was done with my tasks for the day. Streaks. So this is a tip from Atomic Habits, but don't worry, I'm not going to talk about how small habits every day compound and make a huge difference in your life, because that has already been beaten to death. But instead, I want to tell another story from the book. So apparently there was this guy who was a salesperson. He had two jars sitting on his desk, one full of paper clips and the other one empty. And every time he made a call, he would move one paperclip from one jar to the other. And as soon as he was done with the final paperclip in the first jar, he would leave for the day. And this always stuck out to me because it shows the idea of visual progress in your work and just how important that is for us mentally. And so while I don't use a jar of paper clips, I use the app Streaks. Basically, it's a simple app that allows you to set up simple tasks on things you want to do every single day. And the goal here is to not break the streak. The idea being that if we focus on the streak, we are more likely to be consistent and do the things every single day. A lot of things have this concept. You have like daily logins on a lot of apps that reward you. You have like Snapchat streaks. And this all ties into the concept of being consistent and not excessive. Studying a little bit every single day is how you make progress towards getting that job. So I guess I did talk about small habits in the end. Don't beat yourself up when frustrated. There was an issue when I was looking for my first software job that whenever I would do something wrong, I would just feel down and I would beat myself up over it. One example was some days I would be able to do so many leak code questions. I would be able to crank through a whole bunch of leak code mediums and hards. And then another day would come and I wouldn't be able to solve a leak code easy question. And that hurt. That was really bad. It always felt like I was being set back. I would start to spiral and think like I'm a failure, I can't do anything, etc. But to really try and prevent yourself from going down that path, the way I thought of it was, what would I say to a friend who was struggling with the same exact thing? Would I yell at them for being so stupid? Would I tell them that their life is going to be screwed if they can't get that one question? No. I would tell them that it was a bad day, to pick their heads up and get back at it the next day. Never focus on any goal as your last resort. Again, this was me in my first job search. And after so many rejections, my standard for my job or anything that I would take, any position that I take, started getting lower and lower and lower. But interviewers, they can tell if you are desperate, and people do not want to hire candidates that are desperate. And so if you are looking at every single interview you do as your one and only and last shot, you are almost guaranteeing yourself for failure. Obviously, this does not mean don't try hard, but it does mean to at least be mentally prepared that this interview, this goal might not work out. And that is okay, because you will have other opportunities. And this is just a stepping stone into that. So don't be like me. I know it can be easy to treat every interview like it's your last shot, but trust me, if you go into it with that mindset, you're gonna be nervous, you're gonna perform worse, and you're gonna make a lot of careless mistakes. And not to mention the pure amount of stress and anxiety that you'll just be giving off to your interviewer the whole time. Vary the tasks you're doing if possible. This is probably both a blessing and a curse when it comes to studying for software jobs. There are so many things to study. You need to study leak code, you need to do side projects, you need to study for system design screens, there might be take-home assignments from companies. But even though this is overwhelming, we can actually use this to our advantage by swapping between subjects while we are working and studying. Because when we feel stressed out, when we feel bored on one topic, it is counterproductive to just keep going down that path. You're just gonna drive yourself straight into the ground. And this is why I recommend time boxing your tasks or using the Pomodoro method while working. Because if you get frustrated, if you get tired of working on one thing, then just finish your cycle and move on to an entirely different topic. It'll help you keep yourself more interested in the topics you're working on, and hopefully it'll help you burn out a little bit less. Don't be a night owl. So this one is kind of personal, but I found that if you want to be productive, you want to be doing things in the daytime. And trust me on this, I had always thought I was a night owl. In my last year of college, my sleep schedule was like 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. But when you wake up early, there are just multiple advantages. First of all, your brain is generally fresh. You can drink caffeine to keep yourself motivated, and you can be in the sun and let it regulate your mood. So the last thing you really want while struggling to get a job is have your prime studying hours be from midnight until 3 a.m. I'm really not saying wake up at 5 a.m. or something, but I know how easy it is for your schedule to get pushed later and later in the night. Make it fun for yourself. So I left this one for last because I always thought it was kind of cringe. Because I thought, damn, like, what fun is there in doing leak code? What fun is there in studying and applying for jobs? In my mind, it was all about discipline and forcing yourself to do things. But one of my own favorite YouTubers, Ali Abdaal, talks about his own struggle with discipline and how it was kind of a fallacy. He was trying to manage his time as a doctor or in school and putting out 2 YouTube videos a week. And after a while, his schedule became so rough, he relied so much on discipline that his viewers could see the pain in his face while delivering his videos. And it wasn't until he shifted his focus, until he focused on the things he enjoyed about his job and his video creation, that he finally was able to break through a barrier. Don't rely purely on discipline. When I was studying leak code, when I was doing all these projects, I tried my best to make them as enjoyable as possible by trying to visually understand everything and drawing as many diagrams as possible, by using this iPad to like draw diagrams and just work on things. I would use programs from like the book Elements of Programming Interviews in Python that would like automatically check the answers to your solutions to feel that sense of satisfaction when you get something right. Try and focus on the things that are fun for you in this process, or else it will be a very difficult time if you rely only on discipline. If you like this video, I would recommend you check out this other video about how I study for software engineering interviews, but that one more focused on the software side rather than the motivational side. Thanks for watching.